This is Undertale, love child of Toby Fox and, whatever the hell is going on in Toby Fox's brain. I've always wanted to talk about Undertale in detail, I just didn't know the right way to do it. I could talk about the rise of indie games and its mainstream success. I could talk about design philosophy and how sometimes the best way to show off the richness of your characters is through simplicity. Hell, I could talk about how I can't look at this goat for more than 10 seconds without having to book another therapy session.
I mean, I know he only exists in my mind, but I just feel like he's a part of me, you know? You're not scheduled here till next week.
But nope. We're here today to discuss how Toby Fox changed how we listen to music. No, stop! So first off, we have to understand how Toby Fox created the music for Undertale. And, well, I'll just go ahead and let this video right here speak for itself. The process is exactly like you'd think. You sit down with your instrument, realize you don't have opposable thumbs, boom, you made a masterpiece. But the magic comes when the song gets placed into a DAW. Now, for those who don't know what a DAW is, it stands for Digital Audio Workstation. In other words, a program used to convert your piano compositions into the charm and personality we hear today. So let's take a look at the song Battle Against a True Hero. Not the most difficult song to play by any means, but as soon as you place this into a DAW, you get the song that we all know of today. This is the standard practice across all media, not just video games. Every mainstream artist and composer uses one of these as a hub for all of their sounds. But why am I telling you this? Well, it's not because of the tools that Toby Fox uses, but it's the way that he choreographs these notes and applies them to the game. We'll come back to this later, but for anybody familiar with Undertale, we have to talk about leitmotifs. For those who don't know, a leitmotif is a recurring theme that repeats itself through media, giving it this sense of identity. If I were to explain this in non-musical terms, think of how Super Mario Sunshine utilizes the shine sprites as a symbol across Isle Delfino. It brings everything together and adds a sense of identity that you could recognize even if it was outside of the game. Now just apply that to music. Leitmotifs are mainly used to form some sort of emotional attachment. You hear a song early on in a piece of media, so when it rears its head later on, it provides some sort of different emotion depending on the scenario. Undertale's main theme is a leitmotif used in a myriad of different ways, so I guess I'll just let the music speak for itself. And even if I speed up the music in this meeting with Sans, it's still a leitmotif to the original song. Now, leitmotifs aren't anything new or groundbreaking in the world of video games. I mean, hell, just listen to Super Mario Bros. 3. So how is Toby Fox's music any different? Well, most games use only one or two of these leitmotifs. If you've ever played an RPG in your life, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about.
There's like 60 tracks that use this song!
The Toby Fox approach, patent pending, is that not only does the entire game have its own leitmotif, but every major character and area has one that follows them throughout the story. I've already used a few examples, but let's take a look at Snowdin. Again, this isn't anything that's new in video games. My favorite song of all time is a leitmotif of how two enemy characters perceive themselves. So to further emphasize this, let's pull up this DAW once again. If I play this sound, you can easily recognize who it is. Now if I play this sound, I don't think I have to explain that one. Each of these core sound effects are the groundwork for how the music is going to be produced for an event on screen. So the same melodies can be used with different sound effects to give you the effect and emotion when you reach a new character. If you've ever wondered why the music in Undertale feels so much more emotional than in other games, it's because from the second you start the game, you're already building the foundation to this giant infrastructure of music that's all connected. This builds throughout the game so that when you finally get to that penultimate moment in the game where everything comes together, I 1,000. I'm crying at this part.
But that's only half the story, because as emotionally hitting as Undertale is, I've always wondered how Toby Fox managed to make all of these songs so catchy and memorable. Every single song in Undertale has that staying power. If you hear it once, you're gonna remember that song for a very long time. Why is it that I can remember all of the songs from Undertale, but I can't remember any of the songs from any of these fantastic soundtracks right here?
Counter melodies. Have you ever found yourself singing to a song, but there's no lyrics to be had? Well, that's literally all of Undertale. When constructing melodies, Toby Fox doesn't focus on creating the entire composition at one time. Rather, he just focuses on whatever sounds good and letting that move the composition forward. That melody then moves into the background for another melody to take its place that's just as memorable and helps you keep attached to that scene even more. Death by Glamour would be the best track to represent this. Notice how the track immediately jumps in to hear that thump of the bass line? You already have an instantly recognizable melody, and while moving throughout the song, each melody introduced bounces on top of each other, consistently changing the dynamic of the song, with each one being just as recognizable and easy to sing along to as the one before. In the simplest terms, imagine making a riff you can sing and then the melody on top. That's it. There's nothing much more to that. You can hear these in other places too, such as Chemical Plant Zone, the final chapter of Celeste, and even Lavender Town in Pokemon, a series which Toby would eventually work in conjunction with. After learning about all this, it makes perfect sense to me now why Undertale has such Nintendo-sounding music, and why, no matter what I do, I can't get the Undertale soundtrack out of my head. Everything in Undertale is connected. The leitmotifs coincide with the counter melodies play off these sound fonts, and all of these are connected throughout the entirety of the underground. All of these characters have the same story in common of wanting to escape the underground, so even though we don't think the music connects everything, I mean, I don't have to explain more. I've been rambling on for the past 8 minutes. Ever since Undertale, I can't listen to video game music the same because I keep looking for the identity of every song, how it adds an overall feel, how all of the songs in any piece of media interconnect with each other to tell a story and adds this overall complexity to this complete experience. And this isn't just apparent with his work on Undertale. I've seen it in Deltarune, Little Town Hero, and ever since hearing the main melody he worked on in Scarlet and Violet, I can't stop and won't stop thinking about the influence he's had on me and so many others. Toby Fox might not have the orchestral knowledge of Nobuo Uematsu, and he might not have the accolades of all the series Koji Kondo has worked on, but he takes all of the literary elements to creating memorable music and strips it down to its most fundamental and relatable level. And for that, Toby Fox has got to be one of the most influential musicians to ever make his name in the realm of video games. And I didn't mention Megalovania once!